My dear students of class 12 Geography, in this revision series, today in this video, I am going to talk on the demographic transition theory. This topic is an important topic from the chapter 2, the world population of fundamentals of human geography. The demographic transition theory is used to describe and predict the future population of an area of a country. It gives us the relationship between the level of economic development of a country and its demographic structure. It has been seen that there is a relation, there is a close relationship between the demographic characteristic and the economic development of the country. As the country develops economically, its structure, demographic structure also changes. Thus, the demographic transition theory tells us that population of any region, any country changes from high birth to and high deaths to low birth and low death as the society changes or progresses from rural, agrarian and rural, agrarian and illiterate to urban, industrial and literate society. These changes occur in stages which are collectively known as the demographic cycle. What has been told that when most people used to live in the villages, the major source of income of the people was agriculture. There were no industries or less industries, and most of the people had no education. The birth rate and death rate both were high. But as the society progressed, agrarian economy changed into industrial economy, more and more people became literate and more people started dwelling in the urban areas. The birth rate and death rate both declined. And these changes occur in stages which are collectively known as demographic cycle. So there are three staged model of the demographic transition theory. First stage, it is the stage of slow population growth. This stage is marked by high birth rate and high death rate, resulting into slow growth of population. People are mostly illiterate and have low level of technology, and the economy is basically agrarian. Before industrial revolution, most of the countries belong to this stage of demographic transition theory, because in most of the countries there were no industry, so agriculture was the main economy base. People were illiterate, level of technology was low, health and hygiene condition was not so very good, medical facility was poor, and so birth rate and death rate both were high, but the resultant population growth was low. So this is the first stage. The second stage of demographic transition theory tells us that improvements in sanitation and health conditions gradually lead to decline in mortality rate, death rate, but the birth rate remains high. As society gradually progressed, the better health conditions, better hygiene conditions, better sanitations were practiced, and that lead to decline in mortality rate, but the birth rate remains high. As a result, the net addition to population is very high. The net addition to population is very high. This is common in developing nations. This is very common in developing nations. If we see the population growth figure of India from 1951 to 1981, we find India, that is the perfect example of second stage of demographic transition theory in India. Today also, India is in this second stage of population growth, demographic transition theory. Third stage, in this stage, both fertility and mortality decline considerably low. Both birth rate and death rate declines as the population becomes now urbanized. More and more people start living in urban areas. So more and more people become literate. Literacy level increases and has high technical know-how with better medical facilities, better health and hygiene conditions, and people are in the position to control the family size deliberately. People deliberately control the family size and understands the importance of small family. In this stage, population becomes constant, or again there is a very slow growth rate of population. So these are the three stages of population growth that has been shown with the help of a graph in which we can see clearly from in the textbook that certain countries like Bangladesh is still in the first stage. Second, we will find the developing countries belong to the second stage, and like Australia, USA, Canada, or most of the European countries, we find in the developed countries are in the third stage of demographic transition cycle, demographic cycle. Thank you.